Let's go ahead and call the meeting to order, please.
Regular meeting of Washington, Missouri City Council, Monday, June 21st, 2021, 7 p.m. Heidrich.
Here.
Holtmeyer.
Here.
Patke.
Here.
Pettit. Reed.
Yes.
Scornia. Solentrup.
Here.
Wessels.
Here.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will all the council members answer if they have or have not read the minutes of the council meeting dated June 7, 2021? Heidrich.
Aye.
Holtmeyer.
Aye.
Patke.
Yes.
Reed.
Yes.
Solentrup.
Yes.
Wessels.
Aye.
Having read the minutes, are there any questions or comments?
Make a motion. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Patke, seconded by Solentrup, to approve the minutes from our last meeting dated June 7, 2021. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve the minutes. Thank you.
Approval and adjustment of agenda, including consent agenda. You have the collector's report summary, March 2021, investment report summary, March 2021, liquor license renewals, and on your blotter, you will find item D, which is another liquor license renewal for the VFW.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments regarding the items on the consent agenda?
If not, I'll make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Heidrich, seconded by Solentrup, to approve the items on the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve the items. Thank you.
Priority items, mayor's presentations, appointments and reappointments, Public Facilities Authority reappointment.
Okay, this evening we have a reappointment to the Public Facilities Authority, and that would be Debbie Dorr. Her term will expire of June 2024.
Mayor, what is Public Facilities Authority? I'm not familiar with that one.
Who's going to answer that?
I'll start.
Yeah.
I'll let Mark finish.
Okay.
And we've had probably 4 meetings since I've been in my position, and then they're on an annual basis to keep the committee there. It's my understanding if we wish to go ahead and use that board for special financing for public facilities, we have to have that board in place, and they make recommendations on to you. Is that correct, Mark?
It's a Missouri not-for-profit corporation that was created many, many years ago when this facility was constructed, and we issued bonds through that facility to finance the construction of this facility. And I don't know, there may have been others, but it hasn't been actively used for years, but it's an option that's out there. It doesn't bother anybody to keep it in existence. So we keep it around in case we would ever want to use it again, which may or may not be ever.
All right, thank you.
How many members are on that board?
I believe 4.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, excuse me, a motion by Heidrich, seconded by Holtmeyer, to approve the reappointment of Debbie Dorr to the Washington, Missouri Public Facilities Authority. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve the reappointment. Thank you.
Board of Public Works reappointment.
Also this evening in your packet is the reappointment of Steve Richardson to the Board of Public Works. His term would be ending in June of 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Wessels, seconded by Patke, to approve the reappointment of Steve Richardson to the Board of Public Works. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve the reappointment. Thank you.
Public hearings, special use permit, 1498 High Street.
I can go ahead and do that. John, you got to pull up the map.
Want it right?
You have a special use permit application before you tonight for a roadside stand. Basically, to go ahead and be in operation for more than 10 calendar days within a calendar year. If so, then it requires a special use permit. They're proposing to go ahead and establish it up at Iron Spike Museum at the corner of High Street and Highway 100. There is, I think, 4 parking spaces that they anticipate that would be needed during the operation. There's plenty of parking spaces that are available at that site, so it doesn't pose to be a problem for off-street parking. And so staff recommends approval. I think you, within your packet, you have a letter from Planning and Zoning from the chairman. They recommended approval at their meeting on June 14th.
Yes.
Does this stand require occupancy
Occupancy is in,
inspections?
yes, there is an inspection that we do for all of our stands, regardless of whether they're a roadside stand for less than 10 days in a year or more than 10 days in a year.
Health Department too?
I think so, yes. It's my
Yes.
knowledge.
That roadside stand occupancy went in, there was a procedure put together 2 years ago when we had these food truck situations that came up. We discussed those. I don't, the details of the checklist, I don't know off the top of my head.
John's right, that became formalized at that time because we anticipated we would have more. Prior to that, I don't know that there was that much. There might have been a health inspection from Franklin County, but other than that, that might have been it.
Any other questions or comments? Is there anyone in the audience who would like to address the council on this item? Okay. Yeah. Give us your name and address.
I'm Jan Elfrink with Jan's Tamales, 204 Sir Williams Court, Washington, Missouri, 63090. And I did have a health inspection.
Okay.
Just so you guys know. And I would love to give you all a tamale if you come to my stand one day.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. But you did have the health inspection?
Yes, I did.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you. Did council members have any questions of her? Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else? Okay.
Yeah, is it going to come back to the stand? What kind of food are you going to be selling?
I sell tamales
That's it?
and enchiladas, and I'm working on my menu still. I'm new. I've only been doing this a year.
Okay. Just curious. He brought it up to me, and I was kind of curious too.
So is this a food truck,
Food stand,
food stand?
working towards food trailer.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And how often are you going to be there?
Every Sunday,
Oh,
weather permitting.
okay.
Yeah.
So just one day a week?
Yeah.
Okay,
I go to multiple locations all over town.
okay.
And according to this, Iron Spike has invited you to be there, so you've already worked it out with them to do this as part of their
Yeah.
Sunday.
Yeah. Every Sunday or major events.
Great.
Good.
Yeah,
Good
just-
luck.
Thank you.
Just like last Saturday, that cheesesteak truck was invited there. That Daddy-O's cheesesteak was up there last Saturday, so yeah. Good luck to you. I hope you do
Thank you.
All right.
$1 million worth.
Thank you.
That's a lot of tamales.
Thank you.
Tamales.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Thank you, Jan.
Thank you, Jan. Are there any other questions or comments? Okay, we need a motion to accept.
So moved. Motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Patke, we'll second it by Hydrich, to accept this item into the minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you accepted the item. Thank you.
An ordinance granting a special use permit for 1498 High Street in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri.
Petke.
Introduced by Councilman Patke. This is the ordinance that follows the previous item establishing the special use permit. Any questions? Okay.
An ordinance granting a special use permit for 1498 High Street in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri. Holtmeyer,
Aye.
Wessels,
Aye.
Patke,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Solentrop,
Yes.
Hydrich.
Aye.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
Citizens' comments?
Ma'am, did you have something?
Or is there something else on the agenda?
Is her item on the agenda?
I don't know.
Is your item on the agenda? Okay.
I didn't know how to do it. It's the first time I've ever had to speak.
Okay, well, come forward and give us your name and your address, and you can remove your mask, so if you're so
I prefer
inclined.
not to.
Okay.
I don't have my rabies shots, and
Okay.
I'm
All right,
too
very
skinny
good.
to get it, and the living conditions I'm under takes and has got my health.
Okay,
bad. So I'm Deanna Hart, H-A-R-T. I live at 620 Walnut, Apartment C. What else? I have pictures. Can I hand them to somebody, or does somebody want
You can
to?
give them to Sherry.
Oh, here, this too.
You want me to pass them out all of them?
Just hand it to, because I've only got one of each. So you guys just look at them in general. It's got,
Is this-
information written on each one.
Okay.
The year I found it,
You did.
when it was found, it's in the basement, the bedroom. It's repeating mold is what it is. Your inspection, and I sent a letter to the mayor, and one of you guys got a hold of me, called me back on it, and said that when the inspection's done, the mold that's written on your inspection paper just isn't done because you can't afford it or something. This affects my health. This is repeated. If you guys check your occupancy reports, I'll bet you the people that lived in this apartment before me went through this. The apartment next to me on the same floor, apartment A, he said he's had mold in his ceiling for 2 years. And the landlord just keeps saying, well, you can move, which she told me, or, I've done everything I do. I can't do anything else. His is in the ceiling, mine's from the floor going up the wall, because mine is a breach in the foundation. And though they keep telling me it's a flaw in the house. Well, it needs to be fixed. This is deadly.
So did our inspector come by?
No, I was told to get a private inspection, $500.
Who told you to get the private inspection, ma'am, if I
Your
can ask?
Health Department of Franklin County, whoever it was, they called me back from the building council or the building
The building department?
department.
Yes.
I mean, you can check with the mayor's helper, because I wrote an email.
We're
Yeah.
familiar
Somebody
with that.
called me,
Right.
because of the email I wrote, and they said, private inspection. And I said, well, your paperwork says you check for mold in the basement. Yeah, but we really don't do that. So I called the health department. Health Department of Franklin County told me that there's no scientific proof that mold affects your health. Poppycock. The insurance companies that insure these houses is going to prove you wrong, because they pay out big money because of mold. People have been hospitalized because of mold. I've got pictures where my eyes swell shut. I slept outside in the carport for 3 days so I could breathe. I'm 60 years old. I'm going to be homeless because I can't stay there. $500 for a private inspection, and I still have to move? This is wrong. It's just wrong. Do you have any questions for me?
Mark, you
I
got
mean, I don't expect an answer tonight. You guys can keep the pictures. Look into it. Please, somebody do something. This has to stop.
Let me check with our building department and see when we can go ahead and check out the building and look at doing
Because
it.
I asked her to take and check that's the air ducts with all that black mold on it. And this is the week that I moved in. This has been going on for a long time. And I've got more pictures. I just can't afford to print them all out. And I didn't know if you guys would see me or not. I've been pushed off so many times by so many people.
So did our building inspector come to do an inspection
I don't think he's.
He did in January last year.
Is that
And
when you
that's the
moved
stuff that
in?
he didn't report.
Is that when you moved in?
That's when I moved in January of last year.
Okay.
I donated my car to the Veterans Hospital because they needed the help, and I'm one of the people that has to be forced to do healthy things. So I've been walking and riding my bike for over a year for my health, and then I'm compromised by this.
Well, let us talk to our inspector and see what he, it sounds like he's going over there. I mean, that was.
I think we can go ahead
And we
and
can go ahead and have him take care of that and go over and do an inspection for you.
I need it tested. I need to know if it's safe to take my stuff out of that house, because the lady that I talked to last year at I think the water department, where you have to pay for this inspection, she said that, I'm losing track of my mind here, that she doesn't know what they inspect for, so I finally got down to what it's supposed to be. I'm losing track of my thoughts. So anyway, yeah, do what
Can
you
you
gotta
give me
do.
the address again?
It's 621 Walnut Street.
No, 620,
620, I apologize, thank you.
Apartment C.
apartment C, because it's a triplex. There's
Okay.
an apartment on the left side, the right side, a basement, and the upstairs is rented out to one person. And every one of them, but if they run into the obstacles that I've ran into with the health department, I've called an attorney, and the attorney almost cut me off. I don't know if every attorney in this county knows these people or not. I mean, I've been in Franklin, I've been in Washington, Marthansville area since 1974. I mean, I know how close-knit that you guys are. But this is just wrong. I mean, you guys are wanting St. Louis to come out here. You guys are wanting to expand. Well, this is slumlord stuff.
All right, well, let's get in touch with our inspector and
That'd
we'll
be
see where we can
great.
go from there, okay?
Okay.
All right, well, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for listening.
Okay. Is there anyone else? Okay.
Report of department heads, renewal of city's property, casualty insurance, and payment authorization.
Amy's here from Daniel and Henry, and she's going to come up and kind of go over our annual insurance renewal. Thanks, Amy.
Hi, everybody. Too many papers. Okay, I'm Amy DeBlasi from Daniel and Henry. Good to see you all again. I'm here to talk about the property and casualty insurance renewal for the 30th of June. We have just a few days to go in the current term. So I understand in your packets, you can see the expiring and renewal premiums and the recommendations that were made by the team, Darren and Sherry. And I also wanted to add some comments to the information that you have and kind of tell you about the process this year. So when starting to prepare my comments for this evening, I wanted to look back and be reminded of our good results last year. So our 2020 proposal reflected an overall premium decrease of $20,000. Of course, we can't deliver a decrease every year, but that was a good reminder. The reasons for our decrease last year, number one, we moved the law enforcement from PGU to Travelers, and that move saved us $25,000 last year. Also, the experience modifier that relates to workers' compensation, that took a really big drop last year. We went from 140 to 119. That was also a big factor last year. This year, we did some marketing, so some shopping on certain lines of coverage. Travelers is the current carrier who provides general liability, auto, law enforcement, crime, and the umbrella policy. Travelers is just always excited about the City of Washington's account. Travelers is very complimentary of the leadership, the attitude towards safety of the program. They were eager to expand the relationship, and they wanted to compete for your property and your workers' compensation this year. So that leads me to the comments on the property. Your current carrier for 10 years has been Chubb. Chubb has been an excellent partner. They have paid some very large claims. Their pricing has been fair and consistent, even in the years that they paid some very giant claims. But with that said, Travelers has offered a competing plan for your property coverage, and we do support the administration's recommendation to move the property coverage from Chubb to Travelers this year. The Travelers program is lower in premium by $4,000, but that was really not the main factor in the decision. The Travelers property actually provides a higher blanket and business personal property limit than Chubb. Travelers' deductibles are more favorable, and Travelers has included some flood coverage for all locations, which is something that we did not have before. That by itself is worth a lot of money in terms of the flood coverage. Travelers offered a certain limit on earthquake, but did not meet the limit that Chubb had. So we procured an excess earthquake policy so that we will match. We will still have the $25 million earthquake limit that we had with Chubb when we move to the new program. And if accepted, the new program will begin June 30th, and it does already include coverage for your new aquatic complex. Law enforcement wanted to comment on that. The city purchases the Missouri Sovereign Immunity Limit plus a $3 million umbrella on top of that. Travelers offered the renewal at $23,159. I just wanted to point out to you all what an excellent offer that is in terms of pricing. Also, because a lot of our insurance carriers right now are not so much interested in providing law enforcement liability, either at the same limit as a customer has had or at all. So that's the line of coverage is just becoming a little more difficult. But you have an excellent offer here. I went and looked back at our oldest proposal that we had on file today, and that was from 2010. So in 2010, you paid $26,000 for law enforcement. And here you have an offer for $23,159, so that's lower than it was 10 years ago. It's a credit to your loss history on law enforcement because there have been no paid claims. It's a testament to a well-run organization. Oh, let's see. Wanted to comment on cyber liability, and I'm sure that everybody has read the news about the just kind of a disaster with the ransomware attacks as of late. The premiums are pretty much up for essentially all customers, but especially for government entities. We see the attacks becoming more frequent and larger. The cyber carriers are charging more to meet demand for the coverage and for paying claims. BCS is the carrier that you have for cyber. That's the same carrier that you had back in 2017 when the big claim occurred. This is the carrier that we actually propose for all of our city and county clients because they do an amazing job paying claims, and that's what we want to happen in the event of a claim. But your premium is up on cyber.
Is on the cyber claims, is there a deductible attached to that?
Yes, I can tell you what that is. I want to say it's $5,000 or $10,000 now.
I can't remember which one it is, and I didn't bring my book, so I hope you have it, Amy. Was 5 in the past. I don't know if we...
Well,
I have too many papers. Yes. If you
that's
give me
okay. I was just
a
wondering
moment.
now. So a policy like that works if we do get attacked and they have some ransom come out and they want $1 million. You're saying we're covered except for 5,000?
At the time of the loss, your deductible was 5,000, but I want to say it's up to 10 now. Sorry, guys.
But back to your
But that's how it
question.
works.
Yes, that's how it works.
Okay, all right. That's fine, that's fine.
10,000. Got to get to page 23, but it was $10,000 is your current cyber deductible. So if you have a ransomware attack, you will be responsible for the first 10,000 of expenses, the forensic investigation that occurs when an attack occurs, but you have coverage for what's known as cyber extortion, and that's the ransomware attack. The last line I want to spend a little time on is workers' compensation, if I may. So the city's workers' compensation is actually a line which companies are just eager to offer you quotes for. The current term, workers' compensation loss history is amazing, with less than $1,000 paid in the current term for work comp losses. That is a really big deal.
Can you tell them what it was in 2017?
In 2017, the paid losses totaled $256,715. That was the 17-18 term. So a good reason that we may be talking about that one is when your next year's experience modifier is developed, that year will come off and your current year will come on with less than $1,000 paid. So your experience will look much, much better 1 year from now. And along those same lines, Darren, I looked at, again, a 10-year history to see if there had ever been such a good year. The lowest year that I found in the 10-year history was 2014, when the losses totaled $10,000. So that just goes to show this year has been an excellent year. The workers' compensation is currently with Missouri Employers Mutual. Travelers, as I mentioned, wanted the opportunity to compete. Again, they have competed in the past, but they could not beat MEM's pricing. So this year, Travelers sent out their loss control representative to meet with Shauna. She's still here. Mm-hmm. She did an amazing job. The Travelers loss control person was very, very impressed with her. Travelers came up with an amazing offer for you at $183,116.
Wow.
So, because of the history with Missouri Employers Mutual, I gave them an opportunity to have the last shot at that cost, and that is how Missouri Employers Mutual has arrived at $181,913. Which is lower than the Travelers offer. The premium, the renewal premium for workers' compensation is up by 9.2%, but your payrolls are up 10%. So if you look at that, your premium is directly proportionate to payroll. So because your payroll is going up, your premium's going up.
Next question, thank you.
Was that going to be your question? It also has, of course, to do with your experience modifier. So you actually got a break on the rates. If the rates had been the same as last year, this number would even be higher. But MEM gave you a slight reduction there on the rates, well, based on competition. But we know that the city has been happy with MEM. And we're happy with MEM as well. So if you're happy, we're happy. We recommend renewal with MEM. And I think Shauna's happy with them. So that's the plan. So last but not least, I want to thank Sherry especially this year, because when we market the coverage, this creates a lot more work. And Sherry did an excellent job getting me all the information that I needed when I needed it. So we had time to market and time to do all this back and forth negotiation to get it where it's at. So thank you, Sherry. Thank you. Okay, I'm happy to answer questions.
You had spoken about the law enforcement travelers policy. It was, the umbrella was $3 million.
That's correct.
What is the city's about the same?
Say,
The city, not just the law
the
enforcement,
primary
city.
limit?
Yeah.
So the primary limit is the Missouri Sovereign Immunity Limit, and that is 2.9 million and something. That's the odd number. It changes every year. Let's see, this year it's $2,905,664. So that's your primary limit. Then you have 3 million on top of that. So I give you $5,905,664 in total law enforcement limit.
On these, and I was looking down, and you pointed out, some of the good pieces there. I'm looking though, and I still see what, 9 to 10% increase overall, and with a higher on the auto anyway, higher deductibles. The explanation on the workman's comp, that really helped. Are there any other pieces in there?
Sure.
That would, because I'm not sure, for instance, on the excess earthquake, $17,000, and that's, so last year, it says for last year it was not applicable. We didn't
Right.
have it?
You're right. Last year, you did not have the excess earthquake. So the first 3 lines of coverage you see there, you
Yes.
have property,
Yes.
excess earthquake, and equipment. All 3 of those together compared to Chubb's one number. So in order to match Chubb, we had to get the property policy, the equipment policy, and the excess earthquake policy. So that's 3 things put together to match the Chubb program.
And the Chubb was the 112,699?
Yes. And the other part of your question there was about auto and GL and umbrella rates. So you do have increases on some other lines. To a lesser extent, your increases have to do with some claim activity. So on the general liability, I think it was 26,000 in claims paid this year. On auto, not so much, very low amount of claims. I think it was in the 4,000 range. We've also had some older claim development on general liability. We had a slip and fall on a sidewalk, and Travelers has put up a 100,000 reserve on that one. That's general liability. So part of what you see there is related to claims, but more so, the auto and GL relates to the rate environment of the market. So auto insurance and general liability insurance are costing more across the board. That's the best I can do to explain that, because I argued your auto premium to a perhaps an uncomfortable level with Travelers. They were done with me. But that premium came down from the beginning because of your excellent loss history on that line. You've never really had a catastrophic auto claim since we've been working with you. And that there's always the potential for that. But I think you are also seeing the effects of the market rates on certain lines. But that is a good question.
And because due to the 2017 claim on workers' compensation, what do you project the savings could be next year? I mean, you're talking, that's a pretty big, significant difference from 170,000 in claims to 1,000.
Whoo, boy.
Or 250, right, what you said? I mean, is it just,
You had a little less than 1,000 this year. I don't know.
I mean, we don't know what's going to happen next year. We
You're
get
right.
that. But I mean, I guess I'm unaware of this all of a
That's
sudden
true.
spike in one year.
Well,
I didn't.
You've got 9 days left, so if this year holds out, you're going to just have an excellent year. That will be included in your experience modifier calculations there.
Right.
And if I'm guessing and experience holds out and the market stays stable, perhaps you could be lower than your expiring this year. That would be a potential.
Lower than 160.
Right, I see that. Okay.
What happened? When it was so high, was there something?
I think we had several claims that help us reach that number.
Well,
Any other questions?
I would like to go ahead and take the opportunity to thank the department heads for a new level of being aware with their workers about safety. We do it, and somebody else that needs kudos is Mark Scornia sitting over there, because Mark visits job sites, checks up, makes sure that our employees are doing the right thing. And so we've even had a small incentive program for those that are doing the right thing, rather than always be the bad guys. We like to award when good behavior or expected behavior is being met. So this goes all around for everybody that helps with that number that we were talking about earlier. So I don't know that we'll ever be able to hit that number again. I never want to promise that. But
Absolutely.
It was pretty much mind-blowing when we saw that number for this last year. So.
I agree, and you had folks competing heavily for this business, because I think they can see that as well. They can see that you do a really good job.
And Amy, thank you for all your work. I mean,
Okay, you're
so
welcome.
anyway, you always do a great job. How many years have you been with us?
I have been with you 6 years.
Yeah.
We've had your count 10.
Okay, all right. So, well, thank you.
Thank you
Thank
all.
you very much.
Thank you.
We need a motion on this or something?
We do.
Make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Holtmeyer, seconded by Patke, to approve the renewal of the city's property/casualty insurance and payment authorization. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? By your vote, you approved
Thank you, Amy.
the insurance.
Appreciate. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Amy.
Enterprise Fleet Lease.
Oh.
Good evening. Included in your packet, I just took the opportunity tonight to summarize the enterprise lease proposal for you, because I know we went over a lot at the last meeting and everybody had a lot of questions. So I just kind of put some of the numbers together and kind of summarized it. And I wanted to see if anybody else had any further questions. So on the first page that you have in your packet, the top portion just kind of goes back over the cost and what's included in that cost. In the $407,000, that is basically the total cost over the entire lease option. That includes the management fee for enterprise, and it also includes the full maintenance option on those 13 vehicles. And then I went ahead, and I think Mark had asked about the depreciation on the vehicle and what we do there. So I went ahead, we usually depreciate those vehicles over a 10-year life. So I went ahead and showed you there what the depreciation would be for 4 years. So the city's cost then per vehicle would be $31,310, and then we would depreciate that vehicle over 10 years. So 4 years of depreciation on that vehicle would be $12,400. Bringing it down to a book value of right around $19,000. And then after that 4 years, we would sell those vehicles back. And then I just roughly, on the low end, said if we got $20,000, and on the high end, if we got $30,000 for a vehicle, that would roughly be $260,000 or $390,000. And then the lease options down below on the maintenance program, they actually have two different maintenance programs, which, like I said, the full maintenance program on the 13 vehicles is included in that price. It ends up being about $38 per month per vehicle on average, which is $1,800 per year. And that includes the service reminders, use of local vendors, it includes towing, It includes all repair and maintenance, including wiper blades, any kind of supplies like that. The only thing it does not include would be brakes and tires. And I believe when we talked in our meetings, for the most part, we didn't think that we would probably even need brakes and tires within that 4-year time period. The other option that they have is we could include the rest of our fleet in a management package or maintenance package. But what they would do, that would be $9 per month per vehicle, and I'm not recommending that this at this time. It would be where if they feel that if we need a transmission replaced and the vendor is wanting to charge us $800 and they feel that that pricing is too much, they would fight for us and say, okay, well, that pricing's too much. We feel it should be more $600. That's what that $9 would include. So I just personally didn't think that that's what we were looking for in the maintenance. So I don't feel that that maintenance management is what we were kind of looking for, but I do think that the 13 vehicles would be covered, and I think that that would be something that would benefit our city departments. I did look into, I think Steve had asked how much we pay per vehicle now, and I just looked at fiscal year 9/30/20, and we pay approximately $86 per month per vehicle is what we're paying for maintenance. And that was just very rough numbers. So $38 per vehicle seems reasonable then.
Half.
And I know John had said there were some extra benefits with the service reminders and then getting into that routine and hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things is we then have a program that we can kind of track the maintenance rather than it be split up amongst different departments. So for example, your water department may track maintenance in a different way than your street department does. There's really no consistency across the city where this could provide that consistency. I think another thing that may be a soft benefit that it's hard to quantify is when you have a 4-year changeover, your typical warranty periods on those are 3 years, 36,000 miles. Well, typically it's the 3 years we get because we don't put a ton of miles on the vehicles. So your risk for something catastrophic, such as an engine or transmission or whatever you want to think about, is really only a year. Where if you're on a 10-year cycle now, your risk is actually 7 years, which, how do you quantify that? It's hard to do, but I mean, I think there's some real soft benefit there that you maybe don't recognize.
Mm-hmm. And then in addition, they do have that geotab program, which they are in the process of negotiating that fee with a cell provider, but the way that works for them, and we can go with a different provider as well, but they do offer that. They do have, there's a one-time equipment charge per vehicle, anywhere between $50 to $55 is what they're estimating, and then it would be a monthly charge for the service fee for the phone provider of anywhere between $19 to $24 is kind of what they're estimating, if we wanted to do that. And then, of course, that, it tracks the device, the driving behavior, the idle time, the diagnostics, the mileage, and then, of course, that works together with their maintenance program because, it tracks that mileage and then notifies and all of that good stuff. So that's just more for informational purposes. I'm not really recommending that. That can be added at any time if we choose to do that option.
Mary, real quick there too. We have one vehicle in the fleet right now with something similar to that. It's their Verizon Connect is what it is. It's actually, it's more aggressive. It's more cost effective than this.
One vehicle with that?
One vehicle. It's the street sweeper.
Sweeper.
Reason why I do that
track and
is,
know where it's at.
then monthly I can get, I know where the street sweeper is at all times. If somebody calls and says it hasn't been here in a while, I can go figure out where it was on that street. And it spits out reports that I use in our MS4 tracking. So I know where the street sweeper's been for our programming and reporting to DNR.
So this is a 4-year lease. We have to sign a 4-year lease?
Mary, what do they mean by aftermarket cost?
That's attachments
Lights.
basically and different things.
Lights,
I
box.
Okay.
And then the second page is their pricing, and the highlighted items are, and that's why everything says estimated still, because GM hasn't finalized the pricing, and I don't think that that's really done until like literally like the last day of this month, because I think the pricing actually comes out in July 6th is when they can actually place the order, because the 5th is the holiday. So this actually won't be all finalized. It's still going to be estimated numbers, and I think they can still go and negotiate some of this pricing. So it could go up a little bit, it could go down a little bit. So it won't be final until they actually get that final pricing.
down.
They did on some of them, but not those
It won't go down.
final ones.
You
Well, I
the-
know, but.
The beauty of that, though, is you're right, I agree, it probably won't go down, but you're probably getting the maximum benefit out of your used cars right now.
Yes, that's true.
All right.
But- And so then I didn't know if anybody else had any other questions, if we answered all the questions that you had from the last meeting.
So you and the department heads feel good about giving us a 4-year shot on these 13 vehicles?
I think so. I mean, and seeing how it goes, and then, we can expand in a year if we want to.
That's the only
leave
way
these
you're going to
cars.
find out
Well, we've,
Yes.
when it's all
Right.
finished, yes. Yeah.
we've met for 6 months now, and
Yeah.
I will say the conversation started as no. We're not, why are we wasting our
Right.
time? And as it was explained to us, by utilizing our buying power, being able to be a public entity, it started to kind of change that mindset a little bit, that, you purchase these vehicles at such a discounted price, you put 10, 15,000 miles on them and rotate them out, you're actually making money on the vehicle. Which, that's a tough concept to kind of overcome, and we got there, you know what I mean? So, yeah, everyone went into it pretty conservatively and came out of it.
And I think the control over it, department heads just realizing that they still have the control.
Yes.
If they want a Chevy, they're still going to get a Chevy truck. They're still going to get the features that they want on it. We're just not going to say, okay, here's your truck, and then it's not going to work for them.
Yeah,
I
na-
think that
Yeah,
that was a
NAPI
big,
beds
big
versus
thing for
reading
them.
bed. We choose what we want and we get what we need,
Right,
which is important.
so,
So Mary, the next steps is if the council is.
right. The contracts are
feels
tomorrow
comfortable,
to
we would
review,
have-
and then we'll have the ordinance and the contracts at the meeting
July 6th.
July 6th, yes. And then they will place the order, and my understanding is, with the cars like they are, I think this is anyway, but that they would be, I guess, October is what they had kind of tentatively said that they would be
That's what I remember.
in, but that could change also with the market like it is with the chips and everything, so.
Well, all
but that's the
13 vehicles
tentative
are
plan.
either 1,500 or 2,500 Silverado pickups.
Correct.
I mean, we're just doing,
We're doing a small sample size.
and is this included parks, streets?
It's a.
Park, street,
board.
water, and wastewater, I think were
Okay.
the main ones.
I guess my one comment, I guess more so than a question from the last meeting was, it's a big pill to swallow because we've always kept those trucks for 10 years. I'm not opposed to this, but I guess my thought process was we should try to buy vehicles and sell them in 4 years' time and see what that difference is as opposed to going with a lease program. But like John says, when you can get the lowest price available out there, drives them a very few miles, not necessarily make money on them, but you can probably, the resale value is probably higher. And I know the gentleman talked about they sell the vehicles probably better than our department heads would do that.
Absolutely.
That's the other side. You have a market.
Right.
I mean, they could market it a little better than what we can. I mean, not saying we do a bad job, it's just,
That's their job.
I think.
That's their job, right? And
Our job is
I
not
get
to
that.
be a
We are not
fleet
used
salesman.
cars-
We
we're
don't,
not
yeah,
used
we're
cars.
not used
I
car
understand.
salesmen.
I understand.
Well, and they just have a lot more at their fingertips because they're just such
Yeah.
a big company. That's,
Right.
and then we would have to hire people internally to do this for
Yeah,
us.
do
So,
that.
I mean, by the time you add up maybe 1 or 2 people internally to take care of this, if you really want to do it correctly.
Well, and that's why, if you see, it's not the entire fleet. It's a small sample size that we can build upon.
Right.
If it were, well, anticipating it would go very well, so.
We just historically have never done it that
Right.
quick. And I guess that's my thing is why, all of a sudden we're going to get, we balk at a new vehicle or a new truck all the time. Now we're going to get 13 of them and they're going to be new in 4 years. Again, I'm not opposed to it. I think the system works.
There
just
is
a
a,
difference, that's
there is an interesting perception when it comes to that, yes, that there'll be new vehicles in the fleet every 4 years. But I think the important part there is to understand with the purchasing power of government entities, you can flip those over and make money on them, which is better for the taxpayers anyway. It's hard to overcome. I struggled harder than anybody did, I promise you.
I've had 2 weeks to think about it, but I'll give it a try.
Let's just hope you don't go out and take half-ton trucks that we drive down and come up with a 4-door truck with 3/4 tons.
What, Right, no, you want to get something similar. And it's interesting too, because, you know, with the state bids and those things, and, you know, we talk about 4 doors and single cabs, and, you know, you're, with the state bid, the perception is you want to get the smallest thing you need, right? That's what we all should be doing. But what's interesting on like a double cab or a crew cab, it actually may be cheaper to buy that double cab than it is to get a single cab, because that's how the bidding process works. And again, it's a perception thing that you got to overcome, but it may be better to buy a double cab in this situation because there's a higher resale value in the double cab. And that's what Enterprise works with you on, is to look at that market value 4 years down the road, which is, again, it's a tough pill to swallow because it just doesn't seem like it makes sense, but they track the used car market a lot better than what we do.
Well, the GM doesn't make many single cab
No, I know, and
vehicles
that's the thing.
anymore, and that's just exactly what it is. It's almost like a special order.
Well, I'll give you an
as opposed
example.
to affordable.
Engineering, we bought a short bed single cab because I didn't want to spend a lot of money on the bed cover and then the stuff that went inside the truck. It saved us $700. But if you think about that, we actually might have hurt ourselves just a little bit because I can't sell that truck for much.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
What you lose
And
in
that's
sales,
something.
you gain in that, in like gas and maintenance.
What's that?
So what you lose in sales, you gain in gas and maintenance. You
You're-
got a 3/4 ton truck running around, 4 guys in it, it's gonna use a lot more gas, and it's gonna be more wear and tear on it.
Yeah, I mean, that all
3/4
plays
ton
into it.
4-wheel drive versus a 2-wheel drive truck,
All plays into it.
I know.
What about police cars? Is this going to be in that too, or not?
Well, the idea was to go ahead and do this trial with the 13, and then that could be something that we would look at in the future.
They haven't fully looked at, Enterprise Leasing hasn't looked at police fleets yet. They're in the process of doing it.
We can always put the police in scooters too.
We do
Time's the way to go.
need some UTVs for the fair if you're,
Side by sides.
He looks at me all the time. I cut it the last 2 years.
I'm serious, there's none to be found this year.
Oh, I know.
Police Department, just to let you know, we are looking at a Ford F-150 police package, 4-wheel drive. Union has one, has had it for a couple of years. Pacific has one, got another one. They love them. We want to try them. They're police rated. To get one and have it before October 2022, you had to order it by the 25th. Well, I've ordered one, but no money down, don't have to pay for it until it comes in, if it's approved by the budget. And if he doesn't approve it, they have plenty of people that want it.
Yeah. We're going to get one of those esteemed councilman letters from the
Yes,
chief here, I think.
that will come
Esteemed council letters,
when it's
that's
time
right.
for the request.
Mary, as far as this goes, and maybe John too, I guess I'd just love to see, yeah, we probably won't get a report in 1 year, but I mean, I guess after 4 years, we know,
Well, yeah,
whether we made a good decision or not. You know what I mean? If we're gonna try to expand it,
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to have a detail to know that, hey, we made this much money on this vehicle, but I mean, you'll have that information.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
To give you an idea, an F-150 police package vehicle, just the vehicle, is $36,000. If I buy a sport utility police pursuit vehicle, that's $43,000.
How much?
43.
Is Chief trying to piggyback onto this lease program? I don't,
He's lobbying.
I think we need to go back to police cars.
Those are 40,000.
I have one other thing.
Last a lot longer.
We don't have to.
I think the last meeting, I just heard lease every time somebody walked up, so, anyway.
And I just have one other thing under my department head thing. Are you done?
I'm done.
Okay. I just wanted to let you know, I forgot to tell you this earlier at the department head meeting. Last week, I received notification from the GFOA that we received the Distinguished Budget Award
Oh,
for the
good.
13th
Very good.
consecutive year. So, yep, so happy about that, so.
Who's responsible for that?
Finance,
Finance.
good old finance.
Good answer.
thanks, Mary.
Thanks.
And I just want to also add that you guys have sat through a lot of meetings talking about this lease. I mean, thank you, Mary, for your efforts, and
Some more than others.
was some more than others. I mean, it's been a long effort getting to this point, and thank you all, so, for all your efforts on that.
John, do you have anything to add?
No.
Okay, this was just a discussion, so we don't need to.
You don't need any action
Need to
on
do
it.
any action on that? Okay.
Ordinances and resolutions, an ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a contract agreement with Gerschston Construction Company, Inc. for the 2021 Fairgrounds Paving Improvements Project.
Introduced by Councilman Holtmeyer. It was like who did that? So,
Okay, so the Parks Department requested or had in their budget $30,000 to do some paving, asphalt work out at the fairgrounds, last year's budget. In addition, I think Darren presented to you some ARPA funding.
Correct.
Of $20,000 to increase that to $50,000. The idea there is that we would, if you've been out there, everything has been sealed. All the asphalt at the fairgrounds has been sealed by the street department. Parks Department helped out, but the street department took care of that. So when you go to the fair, it'll be brand new sealing. There are a couple areas around the fairgrounds that could not have been sealed. One was behind the swine pavilion, the swine pavilion and the livestock.
Livestock.
That the pavement was it was just in disrepair. You can't seal bad pavement. So this project would do that portion. It would also do a portion behind the livestock pavilion. It would do a walkway from where the COVID testing kind of was. I'm trying to think, that's the emergency management tent, I think. And then the turnaround for the dump station for RVs. So we just went out there to try to find the areas that just had to get something done to them. So we bid this, engineering department bid this about 6 weeks ago. Bids came back. The bids came back a little bit cheaper than what these were. Reason for that is the low contract at the time did not receive the addendum or didn't acknowledge the addendum. So since they did not acknowledge the addendum, we had to throw them out. So to be fair to all bidders, including the bidder who didn't acknowledge the addendum, we went back out for bid. We rejected them, went right back out to bid again. So what you have there was 5 bids, shows some competitive nature, I think, in asphalt right now. $37,074.40. Gerschston is your low bid. It is a July 23rd deadline. We're pushing this tight to the fair. It makes me very nervous. We did talk to Gerschston today. As soon as we get this going, they can get a contractor in there. It'll take about a day to get the work done. It's not a big job. And they said they could do it as soon as we say go. So if we're happy with this, I'll get this done and put that behind us. So.
Any questions or comments?
I think it's important to do it as soon as possible, there's no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
Things are gonna start taking shape, yeah.
Well, and if you look at the I think in years past with the sealing operation, I think we ran that up to like middle of July. I mean, this has been years ago. But what you had tacky sealant during the fair, which was a really, really bad deal. So Tony and them were able to fit it in right here. So there's a little strategy within that to let that sealing cure out a little bit. So trying to schedule these things and jam them all in before the fair.
It helped out. 100 degrees last week helped it.
Yes, it did. And the cool weather day.
Any other comments? Okay.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a contract agreement with Gerschston Construction Company, Inc. for the 2021 Fairgrounds Paving Improvements Project. Holtmeyer,
Aye.
Wessels,
Aye.
Patke,
Yes.
Reed,
Aye.
Solentrup, Hydrich.
Aye.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Now, take a note, there was only one ordinance on the agenda tonight.
Why is it
Hey.
8 o'clock?
Mayor's report.
Something happened. Okay, just a reminder that our next council meeting will be on Tuesday, July 6th. We will be celebrating the 4th of July holiday on that Monday, so we'll move it till Tuesday, since the 4th falls on a Sunday, so anyway. And then you should have received an invitation from Mary, excuse me, oh my goodness, from Sherry, it rhymes, Sherry.
Same thing.
Okay. Anyway, about the Franklin County Municipal League dinner, Wednesday, July 14th. So that'll be down in Pacific with the social hour at 6 and the dinner at 7. So Sherry's asking that you RSVP by this Friday. Okay? So,
City Administrator's Report.
I have a few items I'd like to discuss or just bring up with you. We have been reviewing our street closure policy, and thanks to the Traffic Committee, they looked at it, revisited it, and made some modifications. We have had a lot more requests for those, especially in the downtown area, than what we've had in the past. But part of some of the things that we've modified on the application process are requiring for the portion that's closed on the street that all owners have to go ahead and sign off on that, so that's one party can't go ahead and just propose to block off a street and block off access to the others. We've always had the insurance requirements for them to go ahead and meet. That has not changed. There was an application fee of $100 because we do have our street guys, or I think it's most of the time it's the street department that always drops off barricades, correct, John? And so there's a fee associated with that. Somebody's got to go ahead and do it, and before we weren't charging a fee for that. So that has been added to that. Is there something, oh, and then the advance notice.
Advance
so that we have
notice.
enough time before, so it can go before the Traffic Committee for them to fully review before, so that somebody can't just come in on next week and then the week after that have the street closed. So this applies across the board, whether this is for a neighborhood party, that, you know, the block party, or if this is downtown. We wanted to be fair in our assessment, but this meets the concerns that we would have as far as the emergency response, so that they know what's going on. But there is no limit at this time with regards to how often somebody can go ahead and request that. I know that in the past, it's been downtown Washington has been the only entity that goes ahead and requests for streets to be closed, but we've had a lot more this last year from shop owners and certain ones for different events. So just letting you know, any guidance that you want to give, but basically that's just our application, and we will continue on. We just enhanced it.
You want to tell us about the insurance along with that?
Well, like I said, the insurance stays the same. They have to provide us the policy. They can either provide an additional on their homeowner's policy, or they have to provide the typical $1 million, $3 million that we require, certificate of liability.
Even if you want to have a block party?
Well, if you want to have a block party, like I said, typically what we have is somebody provides us with their homeowner's policy to cover those limits.
To cover the 1 million, 3 million?
Yep, correct.
$100 to have a block party.
$100 plus your insurance. That's probably more important than your $100.
Well, the way I understand it, the only reason I did is because I had conversations with you about it, and I checked with the couple things that happened last weekend, and there's two organizations, the way I understand it now, downtown. Is that correct?
well, they're both, there's the Downtown
Inc.
Downtown Washington, Downtown Washington, Inc., and then this is a group called the Downtown Business Owners Association, but they're under the umbrella of downtown, but it's this Business Owners Association doing these events.
And it's my understanding, and I don't mean to interrupt the mayor, but it's my understanding, I talked with Tyler before the meeting, Tyler King, and the board had approved that they would use the Downtown Washington insurance policy to cover those events. And that's what the board voted to approve.
So the board can approve him to have a party at his house then?
I think you have to be in downtown Washington to go ahead and provide that.
But
Be a
the
member.
board, whatever board it is you're talking about, approved that this new
The
business
Downtown Washington Board.
approved for the
Board of
downtown
Directors.
Allow their
business
insurance
owners?
policy to cover those events, correct.
Why would they do that?
I don't know, that'd be a question for you to ask them. All I know is that that's just a critical item that we need, and as long as somebody foots the bill, we move forward. So, if there's anything else, I just wanted to go ahead and let you know, thanks to the guys that worked on the application and made some of those changes. Second item I wanted to bring to your attention, we are in receipt today, got notification from the Finance Department. We received the $189,841.99 from the county from the past CARES Act funds for the police department. And so we can use that in a number of ways. I've talked to Chief about possible ways that we can spend that in a the best manner possible. So we'll be working on that and bringing that forward. But we did receive those funds. Just wanted to let you know.
F-150s.
ATVs. Yeah, ATVs, there we go. Third item I wanted to bring up was, we've had some inquiries, at least on social media, about our mosquito policy, how we spray, et cetera. Thanks to the quick action of John, Tony, Pam, and anybody else I might be leaving off or whatever, they put together our policy for how we go ahead and spray mosquitoes in the summertime. It's already posted on our website. There might be some modifications to that, but I mean, basically it's up so the general public, if they have any questions, so if anybody from the general public asks, it's out there on the website. We've got, thanks to John and company, we've got a couple of pages that they can get information with regards to how we do it. Last item I would have to say is that this week, I think, is Sherry's 6-month anniversary of being city clerk for us. Oh, hold your applause, because she's had a couple of achievements.
What was yesterday?
So,
What was yesterday?
what was yesterday? Oh, her birthday.
Her birthday was
It was her
yesterday.
birthday, yeah. Living long.
In March, she received her Missouri Registered City Clerk from the Missouri State University, so I just wanted to bring that to your attention. And also, this last week, she is a certified government official through the Missouri Municipal League. So
Yeah.
she's been busy in her first 6 months.
Plus, it's her birthday. Yeah, Mary. I mean,
Congratulations, Mary. I mean,
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Congratulations.
That's all I have. And I do have a couple items in executive session.
Council comments?
I got a comment, and I don't know if this falls towards Chief. I've been asking about this junk up at the heating and air conditioning business up on Fifth Street. And now tonight I noticed when I came here, thank you, John, that they're starting a fence now
Yes, they are.
around there. Now,
That was after they already been issued a summons, so now they're getting the fence up.
okay, is that still legal? Would that be legal?
If they hide it within that fence, you can't see it. I don't know, it's an attachment part of the building or not.
I mean,
Yeah.
we had a situation where somebody had a fence in their backyard and she hit it too, she thought, you know,
That was,
Good point.
yeah.
so.
I'd have to look, Mark, Councilman Hydridge, sorry, I'd have to, I got to get with Sal on that, because I don't, in that zoning district, I'm pretty confident that you're not allowed for outdoor storage, you know, and like I said, you're not allowed to do it. This is where it comes in, it's hard to enforce them if you can't see it, so I'll have to get back with you on, does the situation still exist? Regardless, I think if the fence is going up, you know what I mean, so I'll get back with you on that one as well. So it seems to me there's some progress, but let me check with zoning on outdoor
If the
storage.
junk's gonna get hidden, that's better,
Yeah, oh, I know, it's not,
but if
right.
we're still not
I hear you.
in the ordinance, then,
Yep, I agree with you 100%.
Okay.
So let me get back with you on that, though, because when you asked me, because you did call me earlier today, when you asked me about it, I couldn't
Yeah.
remember what zoning code it was in, and I wanted to go
and
through.
thanks for getting back with me on the pool
Yes, sir.
situation. Thank you.
Why is the fountain at the lake not working again?
I think there were some repairs that they had to do, yeah.
The motor is,
it's been 6 months. It's been 6 months. It's about how long it lasts.
yeah, well, the motor went out. They believe that it's under warranty,
Okay.
and so they're trying to get it replaced.
I can tell you.
And so that is why it's out. It's, but they're trying to get it, the warranty to replace it.
I'll be absent next council meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Party.
Right. Thank you for the heads up.
be over here by myself.
I know that the compost is closed on Mondays,
Yes, sir.
but can we take in consideration of maybe if we have some type of storm like we had last night and some trees were, people who have residential homes that have trees that went down would like to take to the compost on Monday like today and they couldn't get there. Is there a way we could do a code red if it falls on a Monday or a Sunday and if people want to get them out there? Could we just get one person out there to open the gate and have people be able to take tree limbs and bring them out there on a day that it's supposed to be closed?
I think that's reasonable. Yeah, I didn't, to be honest with you, I didn't even consider that as I didn't even realize how bad the extent of the situation was.
Quite a few trees on
Yeah.
my end of town were down.
Yeah, we can definitely consider that. That's reasonable for sure. We always employ an on-call individual regardless. I could talk to Tony about that.
You think a code red would be all right to do that too?
Absolutely, we
yeah.
can go ahead and get that out so that people know that that service is
Good
available.
idea.
Yeah.
I think here, I guess it just, we didn't realize, I guess, how severe the situation was. It's the first that I heard that there was major issues across town, so, regarding trees and stuff.
Okay.
So, yep, we could definitely look at that.
Anyone else?
Pretty good stuff.
Yeah, I got a question. Used to be downtown, like Memorial Day, 4th of July, all this stuff, an organization always put up flags. Somewhere is a lot of flags that I don't know if the Lions Club did it, if the J.C.'s did it, whoever, and they put them on the old parking meters and the telephone poles and so on, but you don't see that anymore, like on Memorial Day or 4th of July or anything like that. I don't know who's,
Was it the J.C.'s?
I don't know. I have no idea.
American Legion.
And the American Legion says no. I've talked to them.
I think it was maybe, you're absolutely right. It looks really great.
Yeah.
I think it was maybe,
As long as the meter's been gone,
well, they
But
had
that's
them
gotta
on
be
the,
ordered.
there were flags. I think it maybe was the
I'm thinking of the
Optimist or?
Optimist, J.C.'s, Lions Club, somebody. I talked to the Lions Club, some of them, and nobody has any recollection or where, but somewhere there's a
was a
lot of
group.
flags someplace, and I think that, maybe we could spur them into doing it again. I mean, they should be up.
Scouts, wasn't
I remember, they used to be all the way down Main Street.
Yes,
Put
it
in
used to
the-
be all over the place.
put it in the
parking meters.
At that
Well,
time,
there was
parking meters.
there's a flag holder on the post, isn't
They
there?
just stick them in each post.
So I don't know if we can, I'll keep digging into it, but I mean,
Dig it.
I'm not aware of which organization put those.
I,
I
okay,
know what you're talking, I know,
There was, it's Lions or the J.C.'s did.
somebody
One of those.
did it.
And the J.C.'s is kind of resurrected, because the J.C.'s had kind of gone away.
Yes,
And so maybe the new J.C.'s,
I'll
Wasn't
work
aware.
on them.
we know a JC member.
we know, Sal's a J.C., so,
If you find out anything, let me know.
yeah, okay.
Okay.
But it was very nice when they did that.
Yeah, yeah. And the lights on the bridge, from underneath the bridge, look good from the river.
Actually, thanks for bringing it up. So, yeah, MoDOT did make, or MoDOT's contractor did make the repairs, I think the first part of last week to it.
Correct.
So I have not reached out to MoDOT. The warranty period, not the warranty period, but the trial period has started. The good news is we will have an event, the 4th of July, Independence Day, where they should automatically transition to that July 4th, it'll go to like a fireworks style display without any, it's programmed into the actual lighting. So just kind of be looking out for that. There's like a 4-hour window there. So it shouldn't take any interaction from us. It should just happen and then go back. So this would be a pretty good little trial.
Pre-programmed.
That happens 4 times a year while it transitions.
How did they get it done without a barge?
What's that?
How did they get that done without a barge? Remember they were saying in the highway transportation.
There was a
meeting-
barge.
There was,
had
I
a
think they
barge.
had a
They
barge.
had a barge.
Didn't know about it. Yeah, there was a barge, there was a lift, barge. Last I heard, everything went very smooth. So,
Which end of the bridge was the cord on?
what's that?
Which end of the bridge was the extension cord on that wasn't plugged?
You'll have to
Did
ask,
they figure
you'll
out
have to
what-
ask that at the transportation meeting at the end of the month, Steve.
Did they figure out what it was? I never did hear.
I've not talked to Tim Helbush about
Wonder what it was.
what the issue was. I just haven't had an opportunity.
Nice to have it working.
Add cord in.
GFI.
Plug it in,
bet.
Joe.
Yeah.
Okay, anyone else?
City Attorney's Report, public vote on whether or not to hold a closed meeting to discuss personnel, legal, and real estate matters pursuant to Section 610.021 RSMO 2000. Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Wessels? Patke?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Solentrup? Heidrich?
Okay. Thank you.
Round fault.
I'm going to go out for just a second.